Boomhauer69 here, and the last video I did a little touch base about this church next to me and how I would love to have the funding to help them restore this church and bring it back to life, basically. And as you can see right here, this church has original old wood siding, and like, for example, you can see right here where there's like cracks and stuff in the doors, and it's in need of repair. But the reason why the church and the people who are the head of this location are Bible Methodist Church. This is a Methodist church. It's a Bible Methodist. I did a video on this quite a few years back, and over here in this town I live in, and it's a Methodist church. They call it Saranac Bible Methodist Church. But it's an old church. It's over 100 years old, and it's been in this town's history for many years. And before it was a Bible Methodist, it was a holiness church, and then later on down through years it became Bible Methodist sometime in the 90s from my understanding. But yeah, basically this church is really old. The doors are old wood doors, and it's got old wood siding where the paint is chipping away. And one of my goals was, if I ever became a wealthy person and could have the funds and could afford to do it, I would donate money to this church to help fix it up. Because it's a 100-year-old church. It's part of Saranac's history, this small town I live in. And I would hate to see this church end up being one of those where it's just got to be demoed, you know. And I would thought it would be neat to be able to save up the money and be well-to-do to help them in a way to help them restore it, you know, give them money they need to help fix it up. And we'll walk around it. Like right here is a pretty bad spot where the siding's just ripping off and stuff, and there's an old basement window and old wood siding, the old doors and stuff, and it needs a lot of repair work, and it's one of those things. If this church had the funds and had the money, they would go through and fix this church go through it like a fine-tooth comb, as I call it, and they would repair it. But it's just simple fact is this church doesn't have the funds to restore it, and that's why I thought about making a YouTube video. Which I'm doing right now, and hopefully I can gain enough subscribers and viewers that could help me raise the money up for the church to give to the church here to fix this old building up. We did one year try to do some painting on it, but it's old wood siding and the paint is cracking and stuff, and the best route to go on this is to re-side it. It's what we'd have to eventually do. Like right up there, you can see a very bad spot and stuff. And some of the windows here are real old and need to be replaced. I would say this church was probably built sometime in the maybe 1800s or even 1900s, around close time when this town was founded. I think this town was founded sometime in the 1900s and stuff. I know this church is over 100 years old. It's been in Saranac since I can remember. You know, it was here before I was born. It was here before my parents were born. My dad was born and raised in this town and stuff. So yeah, as you can see there's some windows that need to be replaced and stuff. And it's one of those things. Right now we don't do much at this location because we know it needs some repair work. So right now we're just kind of on hold. One of the things that happened is at one time this church was fully active. It had a good pastor and a good attendance, but the problem is after a while there were so many churches in this town that the attendance kind of dwindled, and went down, and the church started to kind of lose money, and they had struggles to keep a pastor, and unfortunately it kind of fell down. There's another spot where we need to work, and I'm just kind of walking around showing what kind of repairs this church needs and stuff. To like, there's some woodwork that needs to be done. Like, this old back room here's got some major damage, and we're trying to work on getting the fundings to repair this stuff. But it's just one of those things. The people, well, that run this church are getting older. The son is kind of, that's going to be taking over this church, is kind of taking over the headness of this church. He's kind of one of those people where we're all at a lost cause. Like a lost cause, like what do we do to get funding and stuff, and how would we go about getting the funding to fix up this church and do the things that needs to be truly done to make this church beautiful. And here's some more. It's gonna need basically residing. I say about over 10 years back, this church had a new steel roof put on. Right here is like steel roof. This spot right here where I'm pointing is an old back entrance to the basement. This is just that's a 100-year-old church and stuff, and it needs quite a bit of work to make it beautiful again, but it is savable. It's one of those buildings. It's not one of those things that needs to be demoed. It just needs repair. It just needs the typical restoration work, and with the right money and the right people and stuff, we could make this church, amazing building again, and bring people to love it. We could make this church handy and useful. Mentioned in the video, like I mentioned in the video before, like, I think it'd be neat to put a kitchen in here and set up some sort of kitchen where you could feed families in need and make this something that could benefit the community. As of right now, it's just an old church that's just kind of sitting here. Like you can see in this window right here, there's a cracked window pane and cracks and stuff, and it's a church that just needs to be updated and brought back to life, and can be easily done. It's not like, it's still structurally good from my understanding and everything, and it just needs a little updating, and when we get the funding, we can do that. So if you people who subscribe to my channel and like this video, share this video, and help me get enough subscribers and views and stuff, you will help me by reaching one of my goals, to help this church out by restoring it and stuff. Because I grew up as a kid next to a 100-year-old farmhouse that never got properly taken care of, and had a grandpa who bought this house back in the 70s, and it needed a foundation and roof, and he would never fix it up, and he just let Mother Nature take it over, and it always was sad to me as a kid, seeing such beautiful history of this country and state of Michigan I live in just go to waste. And like this church, I would hate to see this church have to be demoed, because it's part of this town's history. It's been over here for 100 years, and it's a great town of history. I'll give you a little peek of the inside here. Now this right here is the inside of the church, and before we put the steel roof on, it had an old shingle roof, and it had leaks and issues, and it just had some problems, and so they put a new steel roof on it when they got the funding, and that's the only new update we have done to this church so far. And so you can see right here, this right here needs all to be tore down, redone safely. That right there, that little crawl space up top, is actually where the bell tower used to be where the bell was. Now that little spot there was where the bell tower used to be. That little spot I was pointing up to, that little square. You used to slide that little piece of wood back, and you could access the bell tower when it had it. But when they redid the roof on this church, they tore that old bell tower down and got rid of that bell and eliminated that. So there's no longer a bell tower. There's just a little crawl space up there with little tunnels you can access, But I'll show you the inside here. We had at one time a little sale, so it's kind of messy in here, but this here's the right now the main room. It's a little messy because over the summer we had a church sale. We had a little sale over the summer, and this is the main sanctuary. This is where we would have our Sunday services and stuff. This is the main section here. We just have some shelving and stuff. And then that over there is just a little small nursery. But yeah. This is where we would normally have our Sunday service. And that over there is a little spare room. Well, I'll show that. By subscribing to my channel and kind of helping me, you're also helping this church out, because that's one of my goals again, is I really wanna get the funding together, and I would love to have someday the money to help fix this church up and keep it here for another 100 years. That would be one of my priority goals, Now this is that little back room where I showed you around back, that little hole is. Here, let's. This room is storage, but this is a little back room here. It ain't a whole lot. This is where we have our stereo system for the speakers. This has built-in speakers, but all in all, our goal would be is to fix up this church, and if we had the money, make it nice again. There's that old back door that we had to seal off. And one thing, if it was me in this room right here, that we're in this room right here I'm in right now, if it was me, I would figure out how to tear it down and just rebuild it, and maybe turn this area into like a kitchen or something if it was possible. We got some storage. Right now we're just kind of using this as storage, but this back room right here is the oldest, I consider the oldest room in the church, and it's never been restored or touched or something. But we'll come inside and I'll show you it. This is one of the rooms that was in the process of being restored, but they blocked it off, because the kind of goal with this big old room here is to, as you can see, the old plaster and stuff's going down. What this goal would be for this room here is to tear everything down, remodel it, and make this room a big giant multi-purpose room. See, this is the original height of the ceiling. Those are like original electrical lights. They've been in here since the dawn of time, way before I was born. But this is how the original height of this church would have been. See, the other room would have been about the same height, the main room where we have Sunday service. And what they did was, years ago, is they lowered the ceiling for heating costs, and then they just blocked this area off. This was like an overflow seating area. But our goal would be in this section right here, and you can see this really bad section here. This was all caused from when the old roof never got repaired and was leaking really bad, and we repaired that, so now it ain't too bad. All we would have to do is strip this all down like normal construction and redo it. But the ultimate goal for this room right here would be is to make it like a multi-purpose kind of lunchroom type thing. A multi-purpose kind of room where you'd have seating tables and you could sit down and maybe play some board games, have some youth kids come play board games and do some things, And maybe make this like a little luncheonette area where people could sit and have a potluck, as they call it, where every Sunday, because you have a potluck and stuff. And yeah, that's our goal with this church, is to try to save it. try to save it and make it beautiful again, like it once was, and give it life and bring it back, and update and modernize it and stuff. And that's why if people watch this video and they subscribe to my channel and stuff, that's one of my goals, is to make enough money where I can help this church and bring this beautiful old building back to its heyday, Before the people I know purchased this church, it used to be another church, and then they sold it, and then the people that I knew for many years, they purchased this church and tried to make a go of it and bring it life. And at one time, it was a pretty good church and hopping, but now all we need to do is just simply restore it and bring it back to life. And all I can say is, by you people helping, subscribing to my channel, liking my videos and all that stuff, by doing that sort of thing and watching this video and subscribing and sharing, you're going to help me be able to come to this church and say, here's the money, and let them build what they need to do and restore it, Because we talked about numerous ideas, like I brought up the idea about this room right here. One of the things, if I owned this building, and hold on a second, this is fogging up here. One of the things I would do if I owned this building is this back wall here, what I'm pointing at. You can see more of the plaster going down. I would move this out, and which would create less space in between the house and church, but push this wall out more, make this room a little bit more bigger, make this a nice kind of luncheonette area, and then that little room over here that we was just in, let's see here where that door is, that little room was just in, convert that into like some sort of kitchen, remodel that and do some sort of kitchen in that, and then make this main area like a little kind of seating cafeteria luncheon area, kind of multi-purpose room like churches have. And that would be one of the things. And if it was me and I was loaded with all kinds of money, and money wasn't the issue and stuff, I would definitely figure out how to add a second storage to this church, and maybe add some classrooms, or maybe some small dormitory rooms for missionaries, might make some little bedroom type housing upstairs, make an upstairs. This church doesn't have a second story. It just has a bit like old churches have, the big high ceiling. And if it was me, I would convert it into a 2-story building and maybe add some classrooms, make a second story with classrooms, or some like dormitory and housing, like some sleeping quarter rooms for missionaries or something, of that nature. But yeah, that's one of the things I would like to do is, and I thought maybe YouTube could help me out, is one of these days become well-to-do where I could help donate money to fix this church up and make it nice again, So yeah, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel, because you're actually going to help this out, I know what it's like to grow up poor and not to have much, and and my ultimate goal is to become well-to-do, to help people out, and to help people get, become well-to-do, to help people and get them out of the situations that I was always in, I grew up struggling big time, and even now in my adult life, I struggle even worse. Because I don't have my parents around no more to help me out in situations. Both of my parents died from medical problems, I had a mother for many years that had liver trouble and diabetes and money real bad, and we always kind of struggled in life. And so I thought, if I could make this YouTube thing work and figure out a way to become well-to-do where I can help people. That's my goal, is to become well-to-do where I can help people out and and get them out of their daily struggles. Because I know what it's like to struggle in life. We all kind of do at times. And that's my goal. And one of the things is this church right here is to be able to help them out and make this church great again. That would be one of the things. And then after I got done helping them out and they got this church the way they want it, then what I would do is figure out who to help out next. And that's my ultimate goal, is to become a well-to-do person to make a positive, do positive things in this world for people, not just be one of those rich, well-to-do people that goes out and buy all these fancy cars and 9 million houses, Who needs that? Who really needs that, Me, I'm just going to live basic, I'm going to spend most of my time taking my wealth, if I ever, the Lord willing, if I ever can, I'd take my wealth and become well-to-do and try to make a positive and help people out, and people who are struggling, help them out the best way I can and everything. And that's one of my goals with this church, and making this video, is to someday have enough funding where I can hand them the money and say, here's the funding, and here's a bunch of money to fix up the church and make it nice again, It needs a lot of work, but with the right kind of funds and everything, we can make this church could be beautiful once more. It's not far gone. It just needs some repair work, and it would be beautiful again, So if you like this sort of video, feel free to subscribe to my channel, because you're going to help me out and everything, and you're going to help me make a positive outcome in life and the world around me and everybody around me. And so by subscribing to my channel, you're not just... I take it to heart, I really appreciate it, and you watching this long video, I really appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you, and hope you all have a good day, and hope you learned something. Again, this church is over 100 years old. It's part of this town's history, and I'd like to see it last another 100 years. So hope you all have a good day, and thank you for watching.